Hello dear students, this is Samadrita Malik and I welcome you to my language and my learning. Now in this part of the video we will be learning about what is the conservation of flora and fauna as a whole and the ways of conservation of forests. So this is the last part of this chapter, the natural vegetation of India, where we will be learning these. So let's begin. So here we are learning about the conservation of flora and fauna. Now, what is the conservation of flora and fauna? The scientists maintain or believe that every country needs 33% forest cover to maintain their ecological balance. And the world average is 27%, while India has just 19.39% of its land under cover. So we can understand from this percentage that India is actually depleting its forest and there is a rapid need of increase in the growth of forests. Now, what we have to do, we have to naturally go a long way to set up the world average of 27%. For that, we need to undertake several strict measures that should be against the deforestation or the getting rid of forest or the exploitation of forests due to human activities. And why is it necessary? Because deforestation is taking place in our country on a very large scale and it is affecting our wildlife directly. And not only wildlife, as we know, it will also indirectly harm the flora and fauna both, because we know these all are intertwined. They are codependent or coexistent in nature. Many species of Indian wildlife today are being hunted to that extent that they are getting extinct. So इतना ज्यादा ये हो रहा है कि कुछ कुछ जगह में ये पूरा मिलना ही बंद हो जा रहा है. Now many of our animals are listed as endangered, means they are very rare and they are getting depleted to a large extent and their population is degrading. And a large number is already extinct. That means they are not only existent on the planet. So we will here see some of the important animals that are actually getting depleted. First animal is the Asiatic lion. Where is it available? The Asiatic lion, which of which India is the last refuge on earth. मतलब इंडिया में ही बस ये अवेलेबल है और किसी भी जगह में ये अवेलेबल नहीं है. It is rated as the most endangered large carnivore globally. So what shall we say, that the Asiatic lion, which is a very rare species of animal and which is available only in India, and they are also getting depleted and they are also getting killed. Because why? It is the largest endangered carnivore globally, means in the entire world. Next is the Indian bear. It is also getting endangered. Matlab the population of Indian bear is gradually or rapidly decreasing. Why? Because bears are being hunted for their skins as rags and trophies. Because their skins are being used as rags and for trophies, and also their body parts which supply the traditional Chinese medicine trade. मतलब उनका बॉडी पार्ट्स वो जो है उसको एक्सट्रैक्ट करके वो चाइनीज मेडिसिन बनाने के लिए उसको यूज किया गया जा रहा है. सो इसलिए उनको मार दिया जा रहा है और उनका जो पॉपुलेशन है वो धीरे धीरे डिक्रीज होता जा रहा है. Another example is the chiru or the Tibetan antelope. Then it is classified as the critically endangered species. So it is also getting depleted very rapidly, and the number of the population of the Tibetan antelope or the chiru is decreasing rapidly. In India, where is it found? It is found in Ladakh. Chirus are poached by for their fine underfleece to satisfy demand for santosh. We used to make sure sanskars. Matlab, so what is happening? It is needed to satisfy the demand for the santosh bowl. Now, several Tibetan antelopes are being killed just to make shawl. So basically, this Santosh bowl, this is a type of shawl. So the skin of the Indian chiru is being used for making this shawl, and hence they are being hunted rapidly and also being exploited to a large extent. Now, as we know, the ecosystem is a complex and interconnected network comprising biotic and abiotic elements. Biotic elements including all living beings such as plants, animals, and microorganisms, and abiotic components are what? They include all the non-living entities that are vital for the survival of life and that are vital for the survival of life only, and these include what? Soil, water, climate. So we must remember that conservation of flora and fauna also means the conservation of these types of things or the abiotic components which are important for these plants and animals to thrive. For example, the soil, water, climate. And in the biotic elements, flora and fauna are the most fascinating ones. So in a nutshell, what we can say that is that the term flora relates to all plant life and the term fauna represents all animal life. So, what is the importance of this? The importance, again, the ecological balance is maintained. Flora and fauna are very important for human existence. The flora liberates oxygen that is consumed by the fauna for respiratory activities. Fauna in turn liberates carbon dioxide consumed by the flora for photosynthesis. So we can see that the flora and fauna, they are interdependent upon each other. One cannot thrive without the other. Flora and fauna, they hugely benefit mankind through their medicinal and food offerings. Animals maintain the equilibrium by predating on different plants and animals to balance their population on Earth. Animal droppings are a source of fertilizer. The dead animals decay and act as supplement minerals for other animals. Aesthetic value. The flora and fauna spread across the earth contribute to the aesthetic value of the earth as well. People visit several biosphere reserves, national parks, and zoos, forests, botanical gardens, etc. to enjoy the beauty of landmarks. This explains the significance of flora and fauna in our day-to-day lives. Expansion of local economies. Flora and fauna contribute to the local economies through tourism. The flora and fauna of Amazon attracts tourists and scientists, which contributes to about $50 million to the Brazilian economy. Caribbean, Indonesia, Panama, and other tourist locations that attract millions of people due to its widespread flora and fauna. Now, what is the flora and fauna of India? The flora and fauna in India are diverse with a wide variety, as we can say, of plants and animal varieties. The popular fauna of India includes 500 different varieties of mammals, 2,000 species of birds, 30,000 types of insects, and several varieties of fish, amphibians, and reptiles. Elephants, Royal Bengal tiger, rhinos, bisons, lions are some common fauna found in this country. India also contains a wide variety of flora that includes the alpines, temperate forests, deciduous forests, evergreen forests, oak, rhododendrons, pines, spruce, deodar. Then we have laurels, as we have learned in the earlier part of this chapter, bamboos and tall grasses. So this is by far the flora and fauna, and this is and how we can conserve it. Now, the several undertakings of the government on how we can preserve forests. Now, there is an urgent need for us to prevent deforestation, cruelty to animals, and poaching. What is poaching? The illegal killing of animals for their for the human needs. For suppose if we kill an elephant, we will be killing it for their tusks, which is made up of ivory, which is very precious. And we need to stop these in order to conserve the lives of the wildlife as well as the flora and fauna and the natural vegetation of a certain place. The government has set up a number of biosphere reserves, as we have read in the earlier parts of this chapter. That and the first one was which one? The Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve in Tamil Nadu, and several wildlife sanctuaries and national parks to protect our animal wealth. And not only this, the government is also has also started many specific projects to prevent them from being extinct, such as the Project Tiger and Project Elephant, in order to protect these particular species of animals like tiger and elephant, respectively. And what are the launch dates of these projects? Project Tiger was launched in 1973, while Project Elephant was launched in 1992. So, this is by far the summation of this chapter, which includes the natural vegetation of India, the types of forests that we find in India, the types of animals that we find in India, the wildlife importance of it, flora and fauna, their interdependence and their importance, and finally, how we can preserve all these in our country in order to ensure a healthy environment. So, so what are the important projects that we need to suppose these are the things that are done by the government. So as the residents of our countries, we have several do's and don'ts for preserving the wildlife, right? So what are the our duties as the residents of a healthy environment in order to maintain the ecological balance? What is our duty? What should we do to protect the wildlife? We should not disturb wild animals. Wildlife is fun to watch but should be left alone. We should never touch wild animals. We should not disturb them. We should not try to help wildlife that is injured. We should call an appropriate person. We should not touch or pick up wild animals that have died. We should not touch or pick up young animals because their parents are watching nearby. If an animal appears sick or hurts us, we should call an appropriate person. We should never feed wild animals. We should never get too close to wild animals. There have been several times where animals attacked without the slightest warning. We should be sure to research the animal and its signs of fear. Also, we should research how to approach the animal to make sure we don't provoke it. There are always stories about photographers getting mauled by bears, lions, etc. We should respect the wild animals and we should maintain a safe distance from them. We should remember that we are in home and we are in their home basically, and they should get the first priority. We should not play music, honk, or speak loudly. Silence can help us hear the wildlife from a safe distance and without disturbing them. We should not litter the place with polythene bags, tetra packs, and other such materials. They not only spoil the beauty of the park but also may harm the animals. We should take back these plastics with us and disposed of, and we should dispose them of properly. We should not wear perfumes or any other strong smelling substances. These animals survive because these animals are sensitive to smell and it may arouse their curiosity. We should not collect any plants or animals. They belong to the forest and not in our gardens, right? Animals are generally shy and tend to hide when they see a human being. We should not attempt to lure them out by throwing stones or other objects. We should leave them in peace in their environment. We should never ever hunt any animal in their natural habitat because it is against the law, and necessary legal action should be taken against the person whoever tries to commit such a crime. We can provide water for wildlife by putting up a bird bath, keeping it full of fresh, clean water. We should watch wildlife that lives near our home, learn the names of birds and animals. We can make a list of pictures or draw animals of them. This is how we should enjoy the wildlife rather than exploiting the wildlife. We should wear colors that blend with the forest, like khaki, brown, and olive green, that are ideal colors to watch in a national park. That animals might get frightened when they see bright colors since they are not used to them. So, this is how we can maintain the wildlife. Now, we shall see how to maintain the flora of a place. Okay. We should not tear leaves of plants. We should stop the reckless cutting of plants. We should stop deforestation. We should stop um, using several types of toxic things which are harmful to the plants. And by far we should just stop cutting trees as a whole, as it is very, very harmful for our natural environment. So with this, we come to an end to this chapter of natural vegetation, where we have learned to conserve wildlife, flora and fauna, importance of forests, the types of natural vegetation, the types of animals and wildlife in our country, the endangered and extinct species of plants. And hereafter, we are ending this chapter on a note that we should give our 100% to conserve our natural habitat and ecosystems. Thank you.